Hello, and welcome to 5-Minute Math. Today we are looking at the 6th grade concept of area and volume. This is standard 6.8D in the great state of Texas, and we are using item number 7 of the 2024 released STAAR test. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and take a moment to pause the video, work this problem out on your own, unpause it, and we will look at our answers together. All right, so we have a basic right rectangular prism, and we have a square base. That's going to be extremely important. So let's make sure that we get that down. It's a square base. So if that means if this side is 4, I can also say that this side is 4 as well. And the volume, the total volume, equals, right, 192. Whatever the units are, cubic units, we can do that with an exponent of 3, or we can just say cubic units. So what is the height? That's what we're missing right here. Well, what do we know about volume? If we look at our reference material, we are going to see volume of a rectangular prism, and then we see this base times height. But we see that base is a capital B. So what we need here is we need to understand, what does that base actually stand for? V equals base times height. Well, the height is easy. That's the missing. So what I can do is I can use a little bit of substitution, right? I can say this volume equals 192 units, so I'm just going to substitute that in for right there. I'm going to say 192, that's my volume, equals my base times height. Height, I know that I'm not going to be able to get until the very end because that's the missing number. So what is this base? Well, that's something that we need to be able to see because in 5th grade, you didn't see base times height. This is what you saw in 5th grade. You see volume equals length times width times height, right? Now we're seeing base times height. So these two h's match up, which means the base is length times width. So what that means is the area of the base. The reason we're going to say base times height because when we get into upper grades, we're going to be able to see the volume of a cylinder is also base times height. So, but it's not necessarily length times width because you can't use that to find the area of a circle, which is the base of a cylinder. So this base means the area of the base. So when we're talking about a rectangular prism, we're talking length times width. And that's why it's very important to know that this is a square because they only gave us one. And if it was a rectangle, we wouldn't have been able to solve this problem. Since it's a square, we know that all sides are equal. And so we know that if the length is 4, the width is going to be 4. So what is the area of this? Well, if we were to draw some lines here and simulate these little squares, right, we would see 4 rows of 4. We would see the base equals 16 square units, 4 by 4. Right, so now what I can do is I can substitute that in. And I can say, all right, so 192 is my volume, equals my base, which is 16 times the height. So how do I get that h? Well, if I'm solving for this and trying to isolate this variable, the inverse operation of this multiplication is division, right? You can divide both sides by 16. One way to think about this would be, 16 times h equals 192. And you can just write some fact families. H times 16 equals 192. And then 192 divided by h equals 16. And then 192 divided by 16 equals h. That's what we're doing is this last one right here. We're using this fact family. So I just need to divide because that's going to cancel out 16 into 192. So 16 is going to go into 19 once. That's going to be 3. Now we deal with that 2. And look at that. 16 goes into 32 twice. And so that's going to be 32. Nothing left over. Now, that's going to be our answer is 12 units. If you got this wrong, most likely you just divided your 192 by 4, right? That's going to get you another answer, but that's not what we want because that's not the whole base. So our answer here is B.